Okay, so in this video, I'm going to be discussing section 7.1, Unit Analysis 1, Length. This comes from our geometry unit. Our geometry unit is 7.1 and most of chapter 8. But again, this section is 7.1, Unit Analysis 1, Length. And this is the only section of chapter 1 that we will be discussing. So this is the notes I have posted on Blackboard. So in this section, we will become more familiar with the units used to measure length. We will look at the United States system of measurement. We will not be looking at the metric system. The most common units used to represent length in the United States system are inches, feet, yards, and miles, with feet being the basic unit of length, meaning that's the one used the most commonly. The other units are defined in terms of feet. So it means we have, inches and yards being related to feet. So 12 inches equals 1 foot. So right here, you can represent them as fractions, 12 inches over 1 foot, or 1 foot over 12 inches. The other item is yards. 1 yard equals 3 feet. And just like before, you can represent the item in bracket as fractions. And this is 1 yard over 3 feet, or 3 feet over 1 yard. So why are they in brackets? These items are in brackets and written as fractions because they're called conversion factors. And that fraction bar right here, you're going to see it here, here, and here, that is read as per. So you might say, the one that I have the arrow towards would say 1 foot per 12 inches, 3 feet per 1 yard. Okay, so again, all these items that I am showing right now, these bullets can be found on the notes that I posted on Blackboard. Okay, so I'm going to pull the conversion factors up on top, because now we're going to use them for a few examples. So example 1, convert 5 feet to inches. So I'm going from feet to inches. That's important to note. So I'm going feet to inches. It's always important to know where you're starting and where you're going, because the fact that I'm going to get rid of the feet and rewrite it in terms of inches, I need to eliminate that unit of feet. So 5 feet over 1, kind of like how we do proportions. I need to have in terms of a fraction. So now I'm going to multiply it by one of the conversion factors I had up above here, the ones in brackets, where feet is on the bottom and inches are on top. Okay, so now you might ask, okay, well, why does feet have to be on the bottom? Because I want to end up canceling it out. If I have something on top and something on the bottom, it cancels out. It becomes a value of 1. Just like if I had 4 over 4, they cancel each other out, become a value of 1. Just so I can have the same thing, feet over feet cancel each other out and become a value of 1. So I want to have the feet, and again, FT is the abbreviation for feet. I want to have feet in the denominator so that I can have 1 on top, 1 on the bottom, and cancel out like I have up here. So going to my conversion factors, dealing with inches and feet, I have 12 inches over 1 foot. So that's what I'm going to put right here. 12 inches over 1 foot. So now that I did that, the units of feet or foot cancel each other out. Value of 1 now on the bottom here. I'm left with 5 over 1 times 12 over 1, and we're in terms of inches only. You're allowed to have a calculator for this unit. This is our last unit where calculator is allowed, geometry. And this is part of the geometry unit. So I'm going to take my calculator, I'm going to multiply 5 times 12. So type that into your calculator. And we get a final answer of 60 inches. So I took the measurement of 5 feet and I converted it to a unit of inches only. I'm going to fix this for the notes, but know that here it says number 1, it really is number 2. Convert 12 feet to yards. So I'm starting with feet, and I want to go to yards. So I'm looking at my conversion factors up top. We'll come to them in a minute. So 12 feet over 1. So now I have to multiply by the conversion factor where, again, feet is on the bottom. So looking at my conversion factors, I have 1 yard over 3 feet. So that's the one I'm going to use down here. 1 yard over 3 feet. So now the feet cancel each other out. Remember with fractions, you multiply straight across. So I have 12 times 1. And then 1 times 3 in the denominator. And remember, we're in terms of yards. 12 times 1 is 12. 1 times 3 is 3. So 12 over 3 yards. But we can reduce that further by doing 12 divided by 3. And I get a final answer of 4 yards. So 12 feet as yards, it's 4 yards. Okay, number 3. Convert 2 and 5/6 yards to feet. Again, this is a review of fractions. Since we're multiplying, this 2 and 5/6 needs to be rewritten as an improper fraction. No mixed numbers. So 6 times 2 is 12, plus 5 is 17. So 17 over 6. Now, since we already have a fraction here, I'm going to put the yards in the numerator and leave it as 17 over 6 yards or 17 yards over 6. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing. So we come back. So now we want to get rid of yards. We want to go to feet. So we're going from, yards to feet. So looking at our conversion factors again. Now we want to have yards in the bottom. So we're going to use the 3 feet over 1 yard. The yards cancel each other out, and I multiply straight across. Oh, before I even do that, let's cross cancel. Let's reduce across our axis. So I can take the 6 and the 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So now I have 12 times 1, 17 times 1 over 2 times 1, which end up being 17 over 2 feet. And just like I had the 12 over 3 before, I had to reduce it, but I can't reduce 17 over 2 easily. So type it in my calculator, 17 division sign 2, I end up getting 8.5 feet. Remember I said in class that whenever you have a fraction, it's always numerator, division sign, denominator. Okay, last one is inches to feet. So 48 inches over 1. I want the inches in the bottom. And since we're going to feet, I'll use the conversion factor of 1 foot is 12 inches. So the inches drop away. I'm left with 48 times 1 over 1 times 12 feet. 48 times 1 is 48. 1 times 12 is 12. And then I divide 48 divided by 12, and I get 4 feet. So again, these 4 questions, we're doing a standard conversion, going from feet to inches, feet to yards, yards to feet, and inches to feet. Okay, now we're going to talk about multiple conversions. So use proportions to convert between units of measurement when bypassing a unit. What I mean by bypassing a unit, I mean going like from inches to feet, then feet to yards, all within one question. So like you can see down here, example 5, convert 36 inches to yards. So I'm going from inches to yards. But now if you go back to our conversion factors, let me bring them up, that I showed you before, none of these are in terms of inches to yards. I only have inches to feet or yards to feet and vice versa. Feet to yards, feet to inches. So for this question, I'm going to have to follow the following steps. Identify the units you're starting with. That's inches. Identify the units you want to end with. That's yards. Set up your proportions to convert between units of measurement one at a time. Repeat proportions until you receive your answer in terms of the units you want it to end with. So, just like before, I'm going to start out my 36 inches over 1. Now, I want to get to yards, but I don't have a conversion factor of inches to yards. So I'm first going to convert my inches to feet, because I know I can go from feet to yards. So I want to put the inches on the bottom and the feet on the top. So go looking at our conversion factors, 1 foot is 12 inches. So now the inches cancel out. I'm going to do my multiplication at the very end. So I only have feet now, but I want yards. So let's set up our next proportion where feet now is on the bottom and yards are on top. 1 yard, 3 feet. The feet now cancel each other out. So what am I left with? I have 36 times 1 times 1. Over 1 times 12 times 3. And we're in terms of yards, which is what we want to be in terms of. 36 times 1 times 1. That's easy, 36. Use our calculator if necessary. 1 times 12 times 3 is also 36. Again, we're in terms of yards. Anytime I have a number, the numerator and denominator that are the same, gives me a value of 1. So we created a new conversion factor. Our new conversion factor now is 36 inches over 1 yard, or 1 yard over 36 inches. Look at that, a new conversion factor. So again, the proportions we're using here, we're not using any equal sign, just straight proportions. So remember the basic conversions of the American units of measure. Again, these are the two ones we talked about before. 12 inches equals 1 foot, and 1 yard equals 3 feet. And just like I said before, we created a new conversion factor of 1 yard equaling 36 inches. So now let's use that conversion factor to do example 6 and 7. Remember, at any time during this video, pause the video, try the questions on your own. I highly recommend that. Don't just listen to me spiel about this stuff, lecture about this information, and then expect to understand it. Even all the examples before, 1 through 4, then number 5. Pause it, try it on your own, and then see if you can handle it. Okay, number 6. Now I'm doing yards to inches. So yards to inches. So I'm going to use a conversion factor of 1 over 36 or 36 over 1. So we're going to go from 8 yards to inches, so I'm going to have the yards in the bottom. We said 1 yard is 36 inches. I'm left with just 8 times 36 inches. I use my calculator, I type in 8 times 36. I get 288 inches. Number 7, I'm doing inches to yards. So we start with just putting the unit that we start off with over 1, and then I multiply by the conversion factor. So here we want to get rid of inches. That needs to be on the bottom. We want the answer in terms of yards. That needs to be on top. And the conversion factor now is 1 yard is 36 inches. So the inches cancel each other out. I have 360 times 1, which is 360. 1 times 36, which is 36. Type 360 divided by 36 into my calculator. And I end up getting, oh, I'm sorry, this is not in terms of inches. I got rid of the inches. This is in terms of yards. My apologies. So again, we go back to the calculator, 360 divided by 36, and we get 10 yards. So we will have homework assignment for this section. This is pretty much all you're going to be doing in the homework assignment. It's just converting between the 3 standards. Feet to inches, or inches to feet, feet to yards, yards to feet, or inches to yards, yards to inches. Again, we do not do the metric system, only the American US system. Okay, our last example always is a word problem. Now this question is a little different than all the ones we've done so far. All the ones we did before were, again, like I said, feet to inches, inches to feet, yards to inch, yards to feet, feet to yards, or inches to feet, inches to yards, yards to inches. Here, I'm given all my conversion factors, and I'm doing some unusual ones. So let's read the question. A sheep rancher is making new lambing pens for the upcoming lambing season. Each pen is a rectangle 6 feet wide and 8 feet long. The fencing material he wants to use sells for $1.36 per foot. If he's planning to build 5 separate pens, lambing pens, how much will he have to spend for fencing material? And that should be a question mark. Okay, so it looks like we're going to be doing a few conversions here. So it seems like the pens is our starting unit. And the money will be our ending unit. It says that each pen is a rectangle 6 feet wide and 8 feet long. So that means I'm going to have a pen that looks somewhat like this. Rectangular pen, 6 feet wide, 8 feet long. Now we did perimeter very briefly. Perimeter is 2 times length plus 2 times width. So we need to find the perimeter of this pen in order to continue on with our question. So 2 times 8 plus 2 times 6. And we'll go over this formula more in depth when we move into chapter 8. So 2 times 8 is 16, 2 times 6 is 12. So in the end, we get a perimeter of 28. And remember, our units are important, 28 feet. So now let's come up with some conversion factors. So 1 pen is 28 feet of fencing. That's what we're talking about, fencing. And then in the question it says, right here, $1.36 a foot. That means 1 foot of fencing is $1.36. So again, here's our starting unit. I'll call that SU, starting unit. And the money is our ending unit. I'll call that EU right now. And again, the reason I said it's perimeter is because right here in the question it says the fencing material he wants. Fencing goes around a pen. So now let's do our conversion factors and let's do some multiplication. So our starting unit was the 5 pence. So we'll do that 5 pence over 1. I want to get from pence to money. So I got to do these intermediate steps. So 1 pen, so times this. We want to get rid of the pens, so put that in our denominator. 1 pen is 28 feet of fencing. So now the pens are gone. I just have feet. But I don't want feet, I want money. So now I'm going to use the conversion factor of 1 foot of fencing is $1.36. So we want feet on the bottom and the money on top. So 136 per foot. So now the feet cancel each other out. I have all ones in the denominator, so I really don't need to have a denominator. So I can just do 5 times 28 times 1.36. Remember, in terms of dollars now. So 5 times 28 times 1.36 gives me a value of $190.40, which you can remember just write as $190.40. So there's our final answer. So again, the question was asking us, how much money will the rancher spend on fencing materials? So we had to create our units of measurement, our conversion factors, set up our proportion, do that cancellation of units to get from pens to money, multiply whatever was left, and then rethink of it in terms, again, of money, $190.40. This question is a little bit on the harder side. Like I said, there will be questions like this on the homework, so do your best. So that brings us to the end of the section 7.1 unit analysis. We do not do any other types of unit analysis. We only do length, and I only focus on those 3 conversion factors that we talked about. Again, that's feet to inches, inches to feet, yards to feet, feet to yards, or that new one that we created, which was the inches to yards or yards to inches. Those are the only 3 that I deal with on the exam. This exam is not going to be for a while, so don't worry about it. I hope this video was a help. If you have any questions, please email me immediately, and we can discuss them via email or during class when I see you guys next. Have a wonderful day, and thank you for listening.